Greetings, I'm Syntell Smith, and this is Call Numbers. Okay, we're on Chapter 9, the halfway point of the book. But not really of the story. Not just yet. The chapter starts off with an intense exchange between Robin and Zelda. With Robin getting a call from Barbara Szymanski, he feels that Zelda overstepped her bounds when being concerned about his behavior, being the only witness to his fight with Tommy. So it was time for him to let the assistant librarian know he has some dirt on her. This may come off as intimidation on his behalf, but Szymanski herself has taught him not to be a pushover, and has equipped him with the secrets of his new co-workers the elder has learned over her long career. Szymanski has dirt on almost everybody, which Robin mentions to Angie Trueblood during their first conversation later on in the next chapter. So Robin decides to warn Zelda to mind her own business by revealing his knowledge of a skeleton from her past. This exchange may have readers do some Googling and figure out that Zelda has a connection to an incident of civil unrest that happened in a Brooklyn neighborhood known as Crown Heights. Zelda's connection to this event is fictional, of course, and will be revealed over time. But Robin uses what he knows to prevent her from talking to Szymanski about him in the future, and thanks to her guilt, she won't. Robin is still a little angry after talking to Szymanski and Trevor, and he decides to vent to Jerry after they have a discussion about black women. This comes from some resentment on how he's been treated in the past, and also his increased agitation with Alex, which is also building into a serious social conflict. Some call it colorism, or to sum it up, as light-skinned versus dark-skinned. Robin and Alex's disagreements will be a social reflection of what's still going on today, as much as it was 25 years ago. There are some out there that won't like it. There may be others who knew that this ever existed. But I don't plan to pull any punches showing the extremes of such conflict. After being overheard on his personal views, Robin decides to smooth things out with Lakeisha by inviting her to practice checking out some books. It's always a page's desire to work behind the desk when there's a slowdown period, and I couldn't resist having Robin and Lakeisha have a moment where they get to know each other a little bit better. Through their conversation, we learn that Lakeisha is biracial, as Robin compares her to Lisa Bonet. I mean, who didn't have a crush on her back in the 90s? I certainly did. As Lakeisha grows closer to trust Robin, she decides to ask him for help with Tanya's bully problem. The next few scenes in the chapter go through a bit of a continuity issue. I wish I could fix it. Jerry's poker game, Angie's scene in class, and Sonia bringing Janelle's parents to meet the father of her child's parents overlap, but they are told in sequence one after another. Jerry's poker game goes until 4 in the morning, then it changes back to Angie in class, that same event at around 8 o'clock. Then Sonia, Janelle, and her parents arriving at the house was also later on that evening. This was kinda sloppy on my part. I might try to fix it in a new edition rewrite, but I've since learned from this faux pas and plan to do better in future books. I'm still kind of new at all this. Jerry's poker game with other library employees at the newsroom was based on a rumor at the time that employees actually did meet on occasion and gamble. This also shows a vice that Jerry deals with, and I plan to develop it with his character resulting in dark consequences in the future. Angie's lecture scene was drawn from a personal experience I had when I was in college. One class I was so cocky in, the professor had me teach it out of sarcasm, and it totally embarrassed me. And speaking of college, the chapter ends with Robin attending an end-of-term party with disastrous results. He once again misses a chance to talk to his white rabbit, getting thrown out of a window, then gets drunk and gives an arousing speech from the film Witches of Eastwick. It's a favorite of mine, and I reference it once again in a great scene with Robin and the Pages in Book 2. The scene I like to read involves Robin getting more than he bargained for while looking around the Asian crowd at the college party. Robin walked through the open area. He surveyed his surroundings, looking for his mysterious girl. 6 guys suddenly approached him from all directions, encasing him in a circle. They spoke to him angrily in Japanese, pointing back to the staircase leading downstairs. Each of them tensed up, preparing for a fight. Robin looked around, sizing the circle. They outmatched him. If all the kung fu movies he watched growing up has taught him, they would each engage with him one at a time to see how tough he was. What would Bolo Yuen do in a situation like this, he thought. Robin lowered the bag and pumped his chest. "Alright, who's first?" he yelled. The entire circle attacked him at once. Combination of kicks and punches to every part of his body plummeted him. "Hey, what happened to fighting fair? Ow!" he cried. 2 guys opened a nearby window and kicked the window guard out, exposing a 1-story drop. The other 4 grabbed each limb, lifting him up from the floor as Robin struggled. "No!" he protested. "Come on, let's talk about this." He screamed as the group pulled him towards the window and threw him through it. Robin flailed his arms and braced for the worst. "Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit!" He landed in a huge blue recycling container full of plastic soda bottles. He sighed, thanking the man upstairs he didn't land directly on the sidewalk. He looked up and gasped as his garbage bag landed on his lap in front of him. After a moment to gather himself, Robin jumped out of the container with his bag and circled around the corner to the front door of the building. He hid back against the wall and noticed the door opening and 2 guys carrying out Kondo to a nearby cab, screaming at the top of his lungs in agony. He waited 10 minutes before stepping up to the door. Okay, that was a little bit short, but it was a funny, hilarious scene. All of them beating on him at once instead of one at a time. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, and follow me on the social medias. Keep watching for more videos. Peace is the mission.